Hello.
Did you watch Wimbledon?
Oh, yes, definitely. Sorry.
Everyone's gone quiet.
I'm thinking I'm interrupting someone. It was amazing. It was a roller coaster. It was both happy and sad, because I don't like seeing people lose. I mean, I thought that the speech at the end was Djokovic's speech was just incredible. But then it was just amazing, the new Spanish star. I mean, and when he went up and hugged his family and his coach, I mean, I was just crying through the whole match. It's incredible.
Amazing.
What's that, Dee?
The new Spanish star. I can't remember his name.
Alcaraz. Alcaraz.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie.
We're terrible. We are terrible. So we do have a very interesting guestie today, don't we, Dee?
We have. He's a very inspirational guest, and quite unique and quite amazing. He's got a book, and it's all about his sort of journey of discovery and the trauma that he went through as a child, etc. But really inspirational. And it's the amazing Jamie Michael Gregory.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
Who's behind you, Jamie?
Oh, there are just some pictures on the wall of some famous actors.
They're fabulous.
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. Yeah.
Whereabouts are you now, Jamie? Where are you living?
I'm in Altrincham at the moment. I've just got back from Bali. I've been in Bali for 9 months, and then I'm back to promote the book, and then we'll see after there. It's a bit hard because I've got a cat and a dog, and I've been lugging them around everywhere, and it was an absolute nightmare to get them into Indonesia and then get them back out. So
what? You took them with you? Wow.
I can't be without my animals. Yeah, so.
Oh, that's really interesting, because we're all sort of dog mad people as well.
Well, except me. Sorry,
no, but Caddy has us. We are her pets. We're human pets. So, Jamie, this is fantastic. So where have they been?
Oh, so they had to go the first trip out there. They went to Holland and then into Jakarta, and then from Jakarta they have to be driven 19 hours into Bali. And then on the way back, it's a slightly different trip, but you get them back earlier on the way back. On the way there, they have to quarantine for 7 days, and the conditions are not the best. So I felt really, really anxious. It was a hard decision to make, but I couldn't have gone without them. So
you're having your animals counselling to get over it. It's horrible. I said, so you're having to give your animals counselling to get them.
Yeah, well, the cat was fine, but the dog's okay now. But yeah, he wasn't for a little while. It's obviously a traumatic experience,
Yeah.
for both.
You know who I should introduce you to, Jamie? I should introduce you to a lady called P. Horsley. Have you heard of her?
No.
So P. Horsley is an animal communicator. And she's absolutely fantastic. And I went to one of her workshops. I was thinking, oh God, yeah, I mean, I always talk to my dogs, and I think we all, have a conversation with our animals anyway. But I went to one of her workshops, and she brought in a cat, as you do. And she said, right, I would like, I'm going to ask the cat some questions, and I would like you to write down the answers. And I thought, God, I've gone insane now. I really have. So she said to the cat, where do you sleep? And I put, in my basket above the fridge. I just wrote anything down. Anyway, the dog came in. She asked him what his favorite toy was. I said, a blue elephant. I wrote down all of this rubbish, I thought. And then when it came to the answers, I had every answer right, which was really weird. And she said to me, you really are connected to animals. And I thought, how very strange. How very strange.
You'd all struggle out in Indonesia, because how they treat animals out there, it's disgusting. I mean, that was the one real hard thing to just see, like animals, like strays on the road, so many dogs, and it was just horrendous. They don't view animals how we view animals over here.
Well, we're trying to get a law together to get animals classed as family members here.
Wow.
Because that will make a big difference, because up until, was it 2 years ago, they weren't even viewed as, were they only viewed as sentient beings? Were they viewed, or were they not viewed as anything?
Jamie and I spoke to Dr. Lisa Cameron, who is amazing, a politician. She does a lot of work with animals in Parliament.
In the UK, it's only been in the last 2 years that they've actually been, you know, classified as sentient beings, that they actually have feelings.
Wow,
Can you
yeah.
believe that?
Well, we love our animals so much because we can't find sometimes what we're looking for in humans. So it's that bridge. So like for me, for instance, because of obviously my traumatic experiences, I couldn't go straight from having human relationships. It's actually my cat first, and then after my cat, my dog. And then after that, it helped me to become more comfortable around humans.
Did it really? I think I've gone the other way. I mean, you know, I sleep with all of my dogs, which is there's 3 and sometimes 4 of them. My boy sleeps up by my head, but I think it's really, really interesting that so has it helped you with human relationships?
Yeah, definitely, because it was learning as well to love something else other than myself, because I had narcissistic tendencies when I was younger because of the abuse I went through, and having a responsibility, and just not thinking about myself, you know, and obviously you create that bond. And then when I started to heal, I was able to look at like my mum or my dad, for instance, people that had obviously been through trauma. I wrote a book on trauma, I understand it, and it gave me more compassion, sensitivity, empathy towards people that have been through things. But the bridge for that was definitely my cat and then my dog.
I think it's amazing.
To an interview that you did saying that in writing the book, you were in this place for a very long time and had to keep revisiting all these things that had happened to you, and how long a process that was.
Yeah.
I think you said 7 years sort of being.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not over now, because obviously I'm coming on today to talk to you guys, and then it just feels never ending sometimes. And it doesn't always leave me in the best places. Like we can finish today and then it brings up a lot of trauma from the past, which you feel like you've dealt with, but it's not linear. And then it's like a little bit more comes out, and you just get to points where you think this is just never ending. But at the same time, I'm healing. It's not a destination. This is something I'm probably going to have to do for the rest of my life. And it has got better and it has got easier, but it's the toughest thing I've ever had to do. And I don't know how much of the book any of you have read, but I've been through some really horrific things in my life. But writing this book it topples everything by an absolute mile, because I had to go to every dark place that I was hiding from as an adult.
Can I just say, Amy, also, I felt I really had an empathy with you in so many of those situations, because when you think, oh, I've got over everything now and I can move forward, and then okay, the universe has sorted this out, and then it hasn't, it throws something else at you. And I identify with that so much, and I won't go into why, but you know, I think we all can. And I think it's incredible the way you just said you had narcissistic tendencies. The fact you said that, and a lot of people go through life with those tendencies and they never admit it. But you know, you really should. And I know you said you had low self-esteem, but what you're doing is so strong and so powerful, and you're really a role model for young people or anyone.
Do you know what? It's made me stronger because it's not been great. So since it's come out, I've not had the best responses. I've had abuse on social media. I've not really got any engagement. I've lost friends, but you know, I could look at it outside of myself, and I can't change the outside. So what I've learned is this is just making me stronger and resilient, that I find that self-esteem and that love inside of myself despite the outside noise. And even now, it's so tough for me. It's a new challenge. And I think life will always throw you challenge after challenge, because when it gets to a stage where there's no more challenges, you know, there's no point in being here. I mean, that is the purpose of life. It is to transform. And I think we live in a society where people, they view it differently. They feel that progressing externally is the purpose of life, and it isn't. It's about progressing internally, healing yourself so your children and the next generation in line don't have to go through what you've been through, removing that poison from within.
Yeah. This world is so judgment, isn't it? It's so full of judgment, and we have no right to do that. Does it help in any way? I'm so sorry.
I was going to say I'm studying Kabbalah, which is like it's old
Yes.
Jewish mysticism, and it says in there about judging people is what accumulates all karma in life, because we're all humans, we all make mistakes, and we should never judge anybody. And just like I wouldn't want people to judge me, I don't judge my mum or my dad, because I understand what it is to make mistakes, and I understand what it is to be a human. And it becomes a repetitive behavior when you judge, because when you judge, you're not looking at the issues inside of yourself. So you're putting yourself in outside of yourself, so you don't have to focus on yourself, because looking in the mirror is the hardest thing you ever do in your life. Because when I read that book, I realized that every single mistake in my adult life was down to me. I couldn't blame anybody. It was my fault. And people,
but you didn't know any better, and I think that's the difference. I remember having to go to for some reason I ended up going to see a shrink years and years ago, and I can't remember why, but I just did, and I came back and I was furious with my mother. I mean, really furious, and I was shouting. I said, "Why did you do this? And why did you do that?" And do you know what she said? She said, "I didn't know what else to do," and that made me completely go backwards and thinking, oh God, how awful, how sad, how she just didn't know how else to be.
And it's not like, as well, you have to remember that, so a lot of people are unconscious. We live in a world where majority of people are unconscious, but that behavior projected from your mum onto yourself, she would have gone through something in her own life that caused that, just as my dad was abused and my mum was abused. So when you really get to a place of healing in life and you're able to take yourself out of your body, and it's hard to do because you can't do it if you're in a place of fear or even anger, you have to release that. And once you're able to do that, that's when you soften, that's when you become more compassionate, more sensitive, more empathetic, to the point now I'm so soft. I cry a lot, I get upset, and it's like everybody thinks I'm this, because of the amount of times I've been arrested as a kid and all of the stuff that happened, I must be this super strong person, and I am strong, but I'm also so weak at the same time. And that's the beauty that I have, is that if I feel upset, I will cry now, whereas before I wouldn't. So expressing.
I don't think that's weakness. I don't think that's weakness. I think it's an empathy. And also
in the business world. So in the businesses that I had, it's a weakness, because that's why I allowed narcissistical men then to come into my world and steal from me, and I lost my businesses. But showing that weakness, it has to be only around people that I trust, so very close friends, my partner. I can't be Jamie, or I can't be myself to everybody, because people will prey on that weakness. So unfortunately, living in a monetary world where you have businesses and you work, that is the first thing people prey on. And I just kept repeating that same mistake. I'd invite people into my house, I was trying to buy their loyalty, just like my dad was, and they just saw a weak, kind of sensitive young boy that really didn't know what he was doing, and they took advantage of that. But I learned from my mistakes.
I think it's so important what you say about taking responsibility, because you've decided not to blame everybody else, but to take responsibility for your own life, which I think is absolutely the right way, and fantastic. But I had difficulty. I was reading a lot about your book, and I was trying to categorize what it is, because it's not just autobiography, is it? It's autobiography, self-help book, it's a spiritual manual. I mean, where do you see your book as sitting, and is it written for a particular audience?
So at the start, no, it was just, I knew that if I could overcome the amount of adversity I had in my life and make myself successful, but there'd be wisdom and knowledge in that for other people. But the way I describe it is, if an alien landed on planet Earth and wanted to know what it's like to be a human and struggle and suffer and all the facets of being a human being, then my book would be a kind of great manual for them. But it's dependent who reads the book. Some people relate a lot to the social media chapter. Some people that have children really relate to the first couple of chapters. So I kind of feel like whoever reads it, depending on what they're going through in their life, there's also obviously the addictions and etc. etc. It's dependent on the person, because everybody I've spoken to has a completely different view, and they relate to different parts of the book. So I don't put it in one category, because I just don't think it fits anywhere, to be honest with you. It's quite science orientated as well.
Ah, so science orientated in what way?
Really like delve into kind of how the human mind is working, how trauma affects the body, So it's really, really backed up because I studied biomedical science and medicine. So I really wanted to add that aspect to it. So it's explaining how somebody is feeling and how the body is functioning when they're going through this trauma, as well as the emotions and my thought processes at the same time. I've read hundreds of books. I've not read a book like mine, and I wanted to make it unique. So yeah,
it is. I mean, I read like a lunatic. Sorry, Caddy.
No, I was just going to say, did it help that you were looking back at your life, or looking at your life in some ways objectively as well as subjectively? You were putting a scientific or a not just scientific, but you were reading it. You were reading your own life and working
it's like anything in life when you make an association. So one of the ladies said about feeling angry with her mum, but then when she understood and made an association that for whatever reason that her mum wasn't conscious and didn't know, as soon as you make that association with anything in life, smoking, drinking, friendships, relationships, you have an understanding. And as soon as you have an understanding of something, that's when you're able to accept it. It's when we don't understand why someone's behaving in the way that they are. I just saw my dad as evil. But when I understood that, you know, he went through a lot of abuse himself and I understood trauma, that's when things change. And I think that is a rule in society. A lot of people look at people taking drugs and addicts and think they're bad people that need to become good. They're sick people that need to get well. There's a massive difference. And again, it's down to a lack of understanding, because pain is so intense in life sometimes that people feel that, you know, they have no other option. And I've lived that life and I understand that. So I understand pain more than probably anybody on this planet. Or, you know, so I get what it is to be a human, as I said, and I reiterate, we all make mistakes and that's part of being a human, but
did you ever get a chance to talk to him about his life or your mum and her life? Did you ever actually get those chances?
He got killed when I was 17.
Oh, God.
So, and that's when I ended up on the streets, homeless, stealing food out of shops to survive, had nowhere to live. And so, no, I didn't get a chance, but he wasn't well. So, I mean, even if we did get an opportunity to have spoken, he wasn't well himself. And he is older. So obviously, like, my dad would have been like 65 now, and in his generation, mental health wasn't as prevalent as it is today. It wasn't spoken about, you know, so people did drink and they did, you know, have all these unhealthy coping strategies. Times are obviously changing now, but back then it was different.
We are from back then, darling. You have time travel.
You all look a lot younger.
Oh, go on. Yes, schmoozing gets you everywhere. I mean, I think that the chapters that resonated with me, because I have 3 grandsons, and one of them is his dad is separate. You know, that he goes to see it's another dad, and all the bits about, you know, about staying with your dad and one parent trying to make, you know, them better than the other parent really resonated with me, because I thought, well, poor Archie, that's what he has to go through all the time. That everyone's trying to make wherever they are better than where the other parent is, and it's really hard.
My story's not unique. I mean, the amount of trauma accumulated in one life is probably fairly unique, but actually every single thing in that book, somebody that you know would have struggled with some of that. So that's why it's so relatable to so many different people. And yeah, it's like I said, it's tough, especially when you're a child as well. It's really, really tough, because children don't have any really conscious knowledge of what's going on. You make your own kind of assumptions. And as I said in the book, I just felt that all of this abuse was happening because God made me a bad child, because I didn't have the brain capacity to think of any other reason why this was happening to me.
Oh, poor little thing. Poor little Jamie. We'll all look after you. Oh, no, don't start us off. You've got maternal girls here. We'll get you into our nest and we'll love you to death, darling.
When I hear your story, all I want to do is pick up that little boy and just talk to him and just say, you're safe, it's okay. It's all going to turn out okay, because you're going to make it okay. And it's exactly what you've done. It's amazing.
But how does it make you feel about parenting yourself?
I'd be a great dad, because I've experienced everything that was wrong. But I do struggle letting people in still. I'm not no finished article or healed. I'm well on my way to getting there, but I do still struggle with you know, letting people in, it's an issue still, because I've been so kind of relying on my own for so long, and I've done well. So it's going to take somebody special to come along. And also there's the judgment, you know, it's people that are older are more compassionate. So younger people that have read my book or know my story, they don't get it. They haven't got the life experience. There's more judgment there. So probably need an older woman.
We're all, so you've got 4 older women here. You can take your pick. What am I doing? It's become a dating agency now. You got any nice friends? Sorry.
Jamie, tell me, what would you like to do in the future? You're very spiritual. You talk about manifestation, which we all, you know, believe in and know it works. What would you like in an ideal world? And we know it's not, but in an ideal world, what would you like?
Well, I got myself to a place of building or redeveloping hotels for second largest hotel chain on the world. So I went from sleeping on the streets to earning 50 grand a month, and I thought that would make me happy. It didn't. So I had to reevaluate. So for me, it's about being able to earn money, but helping people and teaching people the real way to manifest. And I'll give you a quick example of how it's really done. And it's not explained in books, really, not any that I've read. So when we reach the age of 35, our subconscious mind controls 95% of our life, with our conscious mind only controlling 5%. So if you think you're in control of your life at the age of 35, you're not. And that subconscious programming happens between the ages of around 2 and 12. So we're all living out our subconscious programming. So in order to manifest, you know, you need to really focus on that subconscious part of your mind. So that's where hypnotherapy helped for me. I went in, I created new neuron connections in my brain, and then they became more prominent over the older ones. I was able to manifest really good things with my conscious mind, but my subconscious mind kept bringing narcissistical, toxic men. They were just reincarnations of my dad time and time again, until I learned to deal with that. So that really goes deep into kind of how I learned to manifest. And I would like to teach that to people and really show people, because I've read The Secret, you know, The Power of Now, and all these books are great, but there's more, there's more levels to this. It's not just about thinking happy and, you know, being present, because it's impossible to be present if you have PTSD or trauma that you've not dealt with. There's many layers to this. And it's almost like I would read some of these books and I would feel that there was something wrong with me because I couldn't apply what these books were telling me, because the formula wasn't correct.
So tell us, we need the formula. Can you teach us? Can you teach your Wonderbirds? Because we are now your surrogates, whatever.
The thing that I've learned is when you heal and you go and heal yourself and you deal with all of the trauma that you've got, everything just will naturally align and fall into place. Whereas a lot of people go outside of themselves. And that's what I learned, is I needed to go deep within, heal myself. And actually, when you do heal yourself and you strip them layers away, what you think you wanted is not actually what you wanted. I wanted wealth, I wanted money, success. But actually now the point that I'm at, where I've really gone on this journey, I've gone to Bali, lived in Bali, Malaysia, Holland, Dubai. I've gone all around the world searching for answers. And now it's different. Obviously, of course, I still want financial success, but it's not the #1 priority. I get a glowing feeling from helping people, and I want to earn my money because it's a transfer of energy in a way where I'm able to help people as well. Not sat behind a desk for 16 hours a day doing, I wasn't put here to do that. I was put here to help people, but I didn't know that when I wasn't healed.
No, but also, I mean, you know, you say that I love helping people, and I feel like it's basking in their sunshine to watch them succeed. It's like, it's the most fantastic feeling when people, I always say, I always give people a key, but a lot of people don't take the key, do they?
No. And also with that, you know, when you say succeed, again, we're back to, it's not linear. So a lot of people that they think it's a destination, that it's going to be done in 5 minutes. And this journey, you know, the healing journey, it's not done like that. It's about, I relate it to snakes and ladders. It's about going up the board and then you fall back down.
I say it's exactly what I say. Oh my God, that's very spooky. Exactly what I say. My mum used to say, you can only sleep in one bed. You can only eat so much food.
Can only drive one car.
Yeah, it can only drive one car at a time. So there is no point in accumulating lots of things. As long as you have what you've got, and you appreciate it, then you are a very, very rich person.
When you attach to a lot of monetary possessions as well, you lose that ability to be present. So for me, like, if you was to ask me what makes me happy now, it's reading, it's going to the park, it's walking my dog. But when I had businesses and I had money and cars and all this stuff going on, there was so much stress going in so many different directions. I could never appreciate being present. And a lot of the old ancient texts talk about simplifying your life and keeping things really, really basic. And that's how you appreciate life more. And it's something that I've really, really learned. No matter where I get to in life or where this book takes me, I will still do my own ironing. I'll still walk my own dog. I'll still make my own food, because it's them small moments that I need to really be able to think clearly. In the morning, I don't listen to anything for 2 hours. I let my thoughts surface. This is another thing I do. And my thoughts will tell me what I need to know. So I don't need to go on a podcast or read a book anymore, or even meditate. I will just sit with my own thoughts and I'll challenge them, and things will start to come up time and time again. So again, it's creating more space, solitude. It's all stuff that doesn't cost any money. Yet there's so many kind of things out there where people are buying into or investing into, believing that they're going to find this magic recipe for happiness or success. And being a human being is not 365 days a year of sunshine and happiness like Instagram portrays or social media. That doesn't exist. Being a human being is understanding duality, understanding that no matter where you are in life and how much money you have, you're still going to have shit days. You know, it's part and parcel of life.
All the people who criticize you, just think of all those people that you're actually helping. People who now, because they read your book, feel I'm not alone. They might not have had the extent of huge trauma that you've been through, but everybody's got things that have happened to them. And to actually read something that makes you think, I'm not alone, I'm not the only one, it will help so many people.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and Caddy, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, everywhere I read about your book, it's called a debut, which always makes me think there's got to be a sequel. So are you going to write any more books?
3 in total. So the second one's really exciting. So do you know we all have a chakra system in our body? Is everyone aware of that?
Yeah.
Do you know the Earth has a chakra system?
No.
So Bali is a vortex point. So there's actually a chakra point in Glastonbury. There's one in Tulum. There's one in Cape Town in South Africa. So they're dotted all around the world. So my second book, which I actually started writing about 6 months ago, is really talking about why people end up in certain places in Earth, because they're being drawn there by an energy. So I want to travel to all of these places and experience the energy and write about why people are here. And in Bali was really, really crazy, because they call it the last stop on the train, because they say if you can't heal in Bali, there's nowhere else to go. And I saw darkness like I've never seen before over there.
Wow.
Jamie, you're very, very easy to listen to. You're very natural on camera. You could be taking us around on this journey in a TV series.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Or do it yourself.
I thought even if you filmed yourself going around, I think it would be so inspiring. I'd love to see it.
It's just at the moment, obviously, I've just finished the book, so 3 weeks ago, and I was doing stuff with the book up to 3 weeks ago, and my energy is not right yet. Like I feel tired, and like I said, it's a new challenge. There's still like a bit of a struggle sometimes to get out of bed. I feel like sometimes I don't want to leave my house because I feel naked that the book's out there, and I'm fighting this challenge and I'm getting up and I'm doing all the right things, but energetically I feel tired. Even today before I come on the show, for instance, I didn't feel 100% this morning. I have healthy coping strategies to deal with that now, but I just need to kind of probably give myself a bit of time, because
Do you feel that we've given you some good energy?
Yes, because I've had a couple of mainstream radios such as BBC and like Siren FM as well, and it was just horrendous. It was literally in for 5 minutes. It was just not a nice experience. I just left feeling like I wasn't being asked about the book. I was being asked about my relationship status, and it was just like, this is not relevant. I'm coming on to give people some advice. I'm coming on to give them something that they can take away and purposefully use in their life. And I used the alien comment about if an alien come to this world, you know, they would find out what it is to be a human. And I was getting comments back such as, well, they would never come back then. And And I get it, because they're like, I'm very sensitive as well, but it's just like, if I'm going somewhere, at least please understand the book or read the book. The woman hadn't read the book. She didn't even understand the topic. And I just feel like, because of the sensitive nature of the book, if you're not going to spend 5 minutes even doing a research, I don't want to waste my time or waste my energy.
So we've given you some energy, which is good.
Yeah.
Good. Everybody that comes on this show always says, God, we feel so much better. So we're going to ask you to come back.
Yeah.
I'd love to come back.
Yeah.
Perhaps you'll be in a country. Perhaps you'll be in Bali, and we'll have to zoom you in.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'll go back to Bali. But I don't know. I don't know if England's for me. We'll see.
Well, yes. Can we? We'd like to see your doggy next time, please.
I can
Oh,
show
is he
him
there?
now quickly. Yeah.
Oh, yes, please.
Trev.
Trev. Oh, Trev.
He's a miniature dachshund.
Oh, Trev.
Good.
And I've got a doll face Persian called Snowy as well.
Oh,
Gorgeous white cat.
Oh, lovely. Well, we've loved meeting your family, because that's who they are. And thank you, Jamie. You've been a star. And I'm halfway through the book. I you know, I think with me, I got very traumatized reading it, and I had to put it down quite a lot. But then I've always gone back to it, because, as you said, it's not an ordinary book to read, and it because it makes me think so much. I sometimes have to put it down and think for a few days.
It's like that, but the book actually doesn't start to chapter 10, which I tell people. So everything up until chapter 10 is trauma. So the book changes. And I'll tell you another thing about the book as well, that there's hidden codes in the book. So I'll give you one of the codes. So if you look at the, have you noticed that the chapter titles they're quite unique?
Yeah.
Yes, love them.
So take the first letter of every title of each chapter, and that's one of the clues I'll give you for one of the codes in the book, and it will spell something out.
Ooh, we love it, love it, love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Yeah, we loved it.
Amazing to meet you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
That would be the most amazing series to be following somebody round, finding themselves, you know, because everybody nowadays wants everything so instantly, and it doesn't exist, not really. Things take time. That sounds absolutely extraordinary, that book.
I feel now, after talking to him, I feel the same after reading it. You know, reading some of it, which is, I think I've read first 4 chapters, is that I just now want to sit and think about him. You need to sit and think about it, because the trauma of what he went through, and you, Caddy, as well, having all those kids, I think you would be, because you haven't read it yet, have you, Caddy?
No, I've read lots and lots about it, and I think I'm hesitating because that trauma, that childhood trauma, I think it would be very hard to read.
Yes,
It is. It's really hard to read. It really is. But anyway, guys, we shall. They'll see you on Friday. Well, a fantastic show. I'm really in the moment here.
I was on the edge of tears a lot of it.
But you are normally. It's because she doesn't have a drink. Okay, everyone. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.